Well, from wherever you're watching around the world, welcome from Wembley Arena in northwest London. It is fight night in the capital. Tonight, undisputed lightweight world champion Katie Taylor, after a sensational performance against Amanda Serrano earlier this year, defends her titles against mandatory challenger, the Argentinian national champion Karen Carabajal. Chris Lloyd here alongside Barry Jones to kick things off tonight. 8 fights on the undercard. We've got some huge nights for Jordan Gill and Eddie Scotney. Gill defending his European title against Kiko Martinez. Scotney challenging Mary Romero for European bantamweight title. Katie Taylor, the undisputed lightweight champion of the world, returns to action after Women's Fight of the Year against Amanda Serrano at Madison Square Garden 6 months ago, topping the bill against the Argentinian national champion Karen Carabajal. Johnny Fisher in action as well against Dominic Musil. Gary Cully will kick things off at 7 o'clock against Gerald Belmedi. Barry, 15 straight world title fights, a 2-weight world champion, undisputed at 21-0. For you, is Katie Taylor the greatest female of all time?
It's a difficult one, but I tend to think yes. Just because, you know, maybe Christian Shields has won more things, I would say, but I think Katie Taylor's boxed better opposition. I would say that. I think they're not better. She clearly has boxed better opposition, and I think because of that, I would put her above Christian Shields. And also, I think what she's done for boxing, I know Christian Shields has been a massive flag bearer as well, also, and you know, brought boxing forward, but I don't think it still hasn't caught life yet in the US. But I think it clearly has in Ireland and the UK, and I think that's solely now in this new era down to Katie Taylor.
Certainly is. Well, she's walking into her 16th world title fight in 5 or 6 years as a professional, and we caught up with her earlier on this week.
It's great to be back. It's been an amazing year so far, but it's important to keep it building on that momentum. And I have obviously great memories from this arena, from making my debut to fighting Gutierrez, and here we are for the 3rd time. I've worked so hard to become undisputed champion. I want to continue to be undisputed champion. I want to hold on to the belts as long as I can. I know that she's an unbeaten fighter. She is my mandatory challenger. She doesn't want to lose her unbeaten record as well, and she has everything to gain in this fight, nothing to lose. So I believe that these fights are always very, very dangerous. I know from experience that every single one of my mandatory challengers have always risen their game against me, and I need to raise my game along with her as well.
Yeah, that is the main event. Later on tonight, live on DAZN from Wembley Arena, Katie Taylor defending the undisputed lightweight championships that she held on to by the skin of her teeth against Amanda Serrano in just an unbelievable fight in Madison Square Garden. And Barry, I guess the question marks over her now will just be age-related. How much did attritional fights with Serrano and, of course, the likes of Delphine Pursoon take out of her? Because this is the kind of mythical territory where even the greatest fighters have aged overnight. Roy Jones, when he came back down in his mid-30s, of course, Sugar Ray Leonard had the same issue as well. There have been many fighters over the years that have just suddenly had a downturn. It can happen to the very best of them, can't it? But that has to be what Carabajal will be banking on to get anything out of this one tonight.
Well, she won't be thinking that. No, we all. Boxers are the biggest liars, so we lie to ourselves. So you think you can be on your day, you can beat absolutely anybody, and you have to think that way because you're striving for greatness. But yes, the rest of us think there has to be a decline in Katie Taylor. And you're right. You can. Those 2 fights with Pursoon, they're miles on the clock. You cannot get back. You can't. And even that, and the fight with Serrano was maybe worse again because it wasn't just a war of attrition. The mental torture she had to go through. You constantly had to think. It was more than just hard graft. It was clever work as well from both fighters. So you tend to think that took maybe a little bit from her soul. But I feel, the atmosphere. I was lucky to be ringside that night. The atmosphere and the whole build up around it and the fight night, I think was something she's never experienced before. It was on another level. I've been to some of the biggest fights in the last 15, 20 years, and that was, for atmosphere, was up there with the best. I mean, maybe the best. It was unbelievably phenomenal. And I just think once you get a taste of that, and this is what what makes boxers depressed, or when boxers become depressed or have issues after the fight, it's not the money. A lot of them earn lots of money. It's that feeling that she felt walking into that ring, the crowd, the atmosphere, and it's almost like a drug itself. You're addicted to that, and I think now she's got that, but at the wrong stage of her career, I feel. But still, though it can also inject a little bit of life into you. You know, when you go to a new trainer, they might tell you the same things as someone else's, but it's a different voice, and it's just an injection, a lease of life that you need just to get you up again. It's a new little spark, and I think that might be what it is for Katie Taylor.
Well, it was a legacy-defining fight for Katie Taylor against Amanda Serrano. Let's take a look back at that magical night earlier on this year at Madison Square Garden.
Plan 100% is Amanda Serrano at Madison Square Garden. It's now time to make a historic fight. Katie's been wanting that fight for a long time, and that's the fight people want to see.
This is a history-making fight. I'm younger, I'm stronger. I can box, I can brawl. She's never fought a girl that hit as hard as me.
Talk is cheap, it's very easy to talk about fight.
It's the biggest fight of all time in women's boxing.
Once we go in that ring, we let our hands do the talking.
This is without a shadow of a doubt the toughest fight of Katie Taylor's career.
They've already made this fight the biggest ever. Now let's find out who's the best ever. 10 rounds for history. Good hand speed for Katie Taylor. Look at these two go at it. This is what we wanted, and they're delivering. Ali and Frazier would be proud of this. It's been an epic battle. They fought for history, and they're making history. Katie's knees buckle. Oh, my word.
One of the best fights. You earned every dollar, baby.
And still, the female fight of the year. A fight worthy of the occasion.
I think it's impossible not to get excited for this fight. This is a world title eliminator. Kiko Martinez was world champion. Worked my socks off, and I'm looking forward to showing the best version of myself.
It's one of the greatest comebacks we have seen in a British ring. A big overhand right from Kiko Martinez. And another one. And this time it is all over.
Back a couple of examples of fighters leaving a little bit of themselves in the ring to secure their legacy. Certainly the case for Katie Taylor and for Amanda Serrano, and I think for these two as well, Barry, in different ways. Kiko Martinez, who's just the gift that keeps on giving in many regards, becoming a two-time world champion last year with probably upset of the year against Kid Galahad. He was right up against it, pulled out the punch of his career to knock Galahad out and to regain the IBF world title. For Jordan Gill, up against Kareem Guerfi for his first European title challenge. Just about everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. He went in with a knee injury that he hadn't really disclosed. He had two perforated eardrums, one that went in the fight, one that had gone during the fight. He was DDT, which is something you usually see in a WWF wrestling ring, and that gave him a bit of concussion, a hematoma over the right eye. He had to camp up in the corner, and ultimately he was on about plan E or F, and he had to land the punch of his career to send Guerfi crashing to the canvas and become European champion. And, well, talk about no easy defences. This is a real banana skin for Jordan Gill if he's not on his game tonight.
It should be a fantastic bit of matchmaking. You've got a guy who's 36, but he got a million miles on the clock. His peak was sort of 2014 to 2017, if you like, roughly around that sort of time. So it should be a guy who got great resume, was way past his sell-by date. On paper, that's all true, but it's Kiko Martinez, so it's all wrong. He's just the evergreen fighter if I've ever met one in my life.
Well, look at the rounds box, 333. And those miles have to be on his clock. But he seems, in many respects, almost ever as he was.
It's unbelievable, because the way he fights, just dictates that he out with him, because he's always coming forward. He comes in with the head, but he's low and he's swinging over the shots. He's always looking to be aggressive. It means he has to take punches. It's inevitable. So you'd think that there would be wear and tear. And maybe there was signs against Josh Warrington, possibly, but still, what he has is natural power, and what he has is a really good overhand right. When he dips to the left, he throws that right hand over the top, and that's a real worry for me in this fight for Gill, because I think Jordan Gill's been brilliant. I think the way he boxed Bellotti in fight camp,
perfect.
I think that's the way he needs to fight. Just safety first. Boxing by numbers. Don't try and be too clever, too cute. Don't try and hurt him unless you see him go. No, try and hurt him, but don't go for the finish unless it's 100% there. And even with Kiko Martinez, that's a caveat there. Go for it if it's there, but don't 100% go for it, because he can always hurt you. I think he has to be really, really disciplined is the key here for Jordan Gill. And Kiko Martinez, again, I remember I said about 5 years ago, I'm just going to constantly bet against him because he can keep producing the goods, and I've constantly been wrong. It's just I've never known a fighter like it. It's like there has been, but they're few and far between, and he's one of those.
And we think the winner of this not only walks away with the European title, but will be very close, if not in a mandatory position for the IBF title, of course, currently held by Josh Warrington, defends against Lopez on December the 10th. That's potentially a very, very tricky fight. So huge amount at stake for both of these fighters. Let's hear from them.
Grande. Sé que no me van a llamar para pelear con los malos, pero venimos dispuestos a ganarle y creemos todavía en Kiko Martínez para volver a hacer historia.
I think it's impossible not to get excited for this fight. You look at Kiko and he's all action. And he had a great fight with Zelfa. He knocked out Kid Galahad. He just broke Josh Warrington's jaw. He was a world champion in February, March time. It's a fight where it puts me at genuine world level.
Creo que estoy en un nivel todavía superior a él. Lo voy a demostrar el sábado por la noche. Se lo voy a demostrar al mundo entero que todavía estoy en un nivel muy alto y de todos los que vengan detrás.
This is a world title eliminator. Kiko Martinez was world champion in his last fight. He's not a champion of years ago. I've trained very hard for this fight. I've worked my socks off, and I'm looking forward to showing the best version of myself. And that's all I can do is be the best version of me.
And I think he knows that he needs to be the best version of himself to have his hand raised later on tonight. Jordan Gill and Kiko Martinez for the European featherweight title a little bit later on in our Chief Support live on DAZN. But here's what's coming up over the next hour or so. Thomas Whittaker-Hart and Mickey Ellison will be contesting the Central Area light heavyweight title right here on Before the Bell. I think that's last up, in fact. John Hedges looks like he's going to be ring walking first. Jordan Reynolds back in action for the first time in exactly a year, just trying to get a little bit of rust off against Jose Clavero, who was out against the brilliant Janae Bostan last time out. And John Hedges and Alistair Makovic will be walking very shortly indeed. Hedges looking to go 7-0 under the guidance of Mark Tibbs, and we talked to him earlier this week about making a move potentially up at cruiserweight, moving towards an area title himself in the first quarter of next year. So that is what's to come. Before we go live on DAZN at 7 o'clock, Gary Cully and Jowd Belmedi will be doing battle over 10 rounds at lightweight. Cully looking to break into the Ring Magazine's top 10 at some point in the next year or so, but it really is a murderer's row for Gary Cully. When you look at that Ring Magazine top 10, we know it's a division where the best, traditionally, Barry, aren't fighting each other, but it's probably pound for pound 135, just about the best depth of talent in any division at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, there's no backdoor route, is there, in that division at all?
There's
not at all.
There's barely a front door route.
Yeah, it really is. It's a hard one for him. But you just keep fighting the fights and keep winning and get yourself in the positions to hopefully either fight those guys, because you do back yourself and bet on yourself, or they move up. They're already talking about the people moving up. Teofimo Lopez has moved up, possibly. Tank and Ryan Garcia. That's going to be a catch-weight fight. They might move up, and all of a sudden then it starts getting a little bit fragmented. But you still got Devin Haney and Lomachenko and so many others, which it's horrible, isn't it, really?
Yeah, it's a murderer's row, but Gary Cully looking to get in the mix. He will start things at 7 o'clock. But right now, ready to get things underway here on Before the Bell. Let's hand you over to our Master of Ceremonies for the evening. As always, Mr. David Diamante.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, what an absolute pleasure it is to welcome everybody here to the Wembley Arena in London, England. We are live on DAZN for a big night of World Championship Professional Boxing. And we begin tonight with a 6-round light heavyweight affair. Now, making his way to the ring, please welcome Alistair Makovic.
Yeah, from Tabor in the Czech Republic, Alistair Makovic, a southpaw, 3-0 with 2 knockouts. He's had some quite good preparation for this. He fought another tall lefty in a fighter called Armi Kovaci in July. And Makovic, as you'll see tonight, he fights short in a really low crouch. Kind of reminds a little bit of the way George Groves used to set up, but of course with the left-handed stance. He disguises the overhand left well from that stance, and he will be forcing Hedges to punch down in this fight. That may give him some opportunities to counter over the top. He is a notch above the opponents that the Takeley fighter has faced so far. What can he offer in the away corner first up tonight?
And now, making his way to the arena, please welcome the undefeated man from Takeley, gentlemen, John J. Hedges.
Well, Mark Tibbs is already in the ring, in the home corner, watching his fighter ring walk down the ramp, still only 20 years of age, the tall figure of John Hedges. And I know Mark Tibbs, one of the regrets he had was just turning over a little bit too early as a young professional, about the same age Hedges did when he was kind of on the cusp of international opportunities as a junior, a little bit like Hedges was. And Tibbs always said, I wish I'd stayed amateur just a couple more years. And I get the sense that he's nurturing Hedges in the way that perhaps he wished he'd had just a little bit of extra time, patience. He doesn't want to rush this young man because he has got some talent.
Yeah, because once you get to a level and you pass the test, you don't go back, and you can get there too quick. And it's all about not winning titles or not getting. It's about staying there, longevity in the sport. And I understand what Mark's like. I turned pro at 18, way too young, and yeah, and you should sort of get there early. And then by the time for me, I was 25, I was done. So you want a longer, more fruitful career. And I think Mark having that experience will guide Hedges in the right direction.
Good evening and welcome to the Wembley Arena here in London, England. We are live on DAZN for a big night of World Championship Professional Boxing. It's all being brought to you courtesy of Mr. Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing. We're sponsored by Betfred, FCI Markets, Stagefront, and JD Sports. All of tonight's bouts are sanctioned under the auspices of the British Boxing Board of Control. The steward in charge is Mr. Mick Collier. Introducing your third man in the ring at the sound of the bell, scoring referee, A-star referee from Doncaster, Mr. Michael Alexander. And now, ladies and gentlemen, 6 rounds of boxing scheduled in the light heavyweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the black trunks with the white trim. He scaled 12 stone, 12 pounds, 2 ounces. His young professional record thus far perfect. 3 fights, 3 victories, 2 of them coming by way of knockout. Fighting out of Tabor, Czech Republic, introducing Alice Makovich. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the blue corner. He wears the green with gold trim. He's scaled already 12 stone, 13 pounds, 6 ounces. His professional record, also a perfect one. 6 fights, 6 victories, 2 of them coming by way of knockout. Here is the 4-time amateur national champion and the 7-time amateur international titleist, fighting out of Takeley, England, gentlemen, John J. Hedges.
Well, lads, you both know the rules, so let's just have a good, clean fight, okay? Most of all, remember to defend yourselves at all times, all right? Trust gloves.
Well, that transition from boy to man isn't always a quick one, but for John Hedges, the last couple of fights, he's got his first 2 stoppages and started to look physically much more assured than he did in his first 4. He's around 6'5", still finding his weight division. He believes he may well settle down at cruiserweight. This was made at 183 pounds, which he made on the scales yesterday. And as I mentioned, Alice Makovich sets up in that low crouch, forcing you to punch down, loops that left hand over the top. Could be tricky early on here, though I will say in his last fight against Armi Kovatsky, he did start to fade as the fight wore on. I think Hedges hasn't really shown any signs of engine problems in his 6 rounders so far. He's got to be patient and just pick that jab early, just trying to hold this one long and have a good look at his man at at the early stages of this fight, Barry.
Yeah, and the jab's really good here from Hedges because he takes a little step with it, so he's not overcommitting, but he's just having a little step as he comes forward, and there's weight on that jab. So he's just not allowing Makovic to set any attacks. So sometimes you throw a jab and someone throws off it. It's a good right hand there following that left hand, but because the jab's solid and he's stepping behind it, Makovic just can't reset.
Just chopping it down and now grips the right hand under the elbow on the other side. Already got the attention and the respect of Makovic, who's trying to inch his front foot into range, but Hedges has found his range already. Another stiff jab, just knocking him back onto his heels.
You turn away engines, you don't need a good shot. You don't need a good engine when you're dictating the pace with the right hand like this, so easy.
The issue you can sometimes have with these smaller fights, you give them too much momentum and you find yourself struggling to find the space, but Hedges has done the right thing just by establishing himself at centre ring, giving himself the space to work so far. And is Makovic just having a look himself here? Does he plan to go to work in the next few minutes? But he's taken some heavy fire there, one shot to the body. He had to think about it, drop down, that delayed reaction we sometimes see from digging body shots. 50 seconds still on the clock. I think he's hurt here, and John Hedges knows it could be his third stoppage in a row here if he can start to put things together. Makovic just found the left hand.
Again, he's got to take his time, you know, Hedges. He's still trying to keep the distance, not get too close. Just keep those punches long, and then when he lands with 2 long straight shots, then he can dip down to the body again.
Really looking for those, chopping away. Thuds that left hand down the centre as well. What a start from John Hedges.
That's good jab. It's impressive, isn't it? Composure, isn't it? He's just nice and relaxed, you know, but he's dominating without taking any silly risks.
Well, dominant first 3 minutes from John Hedges. Caught a couple of left hands in the fire, nothing more, but he landed some solid, clean leather from the start on Alice Makovic. Dropped him with a short, chipping body shot right up the middle, and it was that long delayed reaction, but that left hand started to really chop it down. It was a double right hand that just came upwards in the solar plexus.
Yeah, the first one goes right to the middle, and the second one just in a short rib there, wasn't it? Just see him there, just a little second, and as he goes to take his breath, that's enough. Solar plexus, there you go. I think that's lovely work. But again, it's all coming off those long straight shots. You know, he's throwing the jab, he's connecting with, feels the power in the jab, then throws the left hand over the top before he dips over that front foot to commit to the body work.
Well, he may have expected that it would take a little longer than this to slow down Alice Makovic, as he already just taken a little something out of the fighter from Czech Republic, just measuring with that jab, prodding, giving himself space to line those shots up, turn through them at full extension. That's where the power is for John Hedges, and he sounded heavier handed on the pads than we've heard him at the open workout on Wednesday.
The problem for Makovic is, you know, he wants to fire through. He comes forward with the shots, he fires the shots from long range, and then comes forward with his body weight and momentum, but he needs to quicken his feet, and he's on his heels a little bit here, so he can't get the momentum with the body movement, and he can't get the roll, the swaying back and forth, because he's too fat on his heels. At the minute, it's just a sitting target here for Hedges.
Well, the moment he creeps onto the edge of punching distance, Hedges just letting his hands go, and he's hurting him with these shots. Makovic covering up, but he's feeling the force of them. You can just see it in the body language. Another left hand just skims the outside of the forearm. There's weight behind these shots. See the body language of John Hedges, almost knows that it's just a matter of time, and he's now in no rush to pick the work that he needs. He knows he can hurt his man. And Mark Tibbs will have reiterated that to him in the corner.
And again, all you want to see from a young man, you know, a little bit of maturity, but just discipline, keeping your shape, your composure. Especially when you're having success, that's when you lose it the most. You have success and you sort of go for the finish too early, get a bit scrappy, and that allows the other fighter to get into the fight, so to hold on and survive. Here Hedges just dominating, using what he has, his long reach, and everything's long. He's turning from the core to get that left hand over into play.
The difference in foot speed as well is apparent here at our ringside position. Makovic just hasn't got the legs to spring in and close the considerable gap between them. And all the while, Hedges able to just sit and pot shot from range. I think Hedges wants him to overcommit on that front foot to walk him onto something, but Makovic, even though he doesn't want to, he's almost unable to, just manages to get past the left hand for a moment there, but immediately tied up. Well, if you want a textbook example of a range war in boxing, you're watching it right here.
Now doubling that jab up now, Hedges. He steps behind it and push him back a little bit. He still take the half a step back to make sure he's safe before he throws it again, but start putting his punches together a little bit more frequent now. Now he's found the range. I would say he's softened the guy up, but he's put him on the back foot under pressure, and he knows not to make any mistakes here.
Well, 2 dominant rounds in the bank, and well, it's supposed to be a half a step up and a different sort of test this for John Hedges. Looking very, very comfortable so far.
But he's just using what you got. You've got to use your natural attributes. You've got that long reach, you've got a good jab, and it's solid as well. It's a strong jab, and that's pretty much dictated the pace for him. He's landed with it early, and allowed Makovic any opportunity to get close to him and dominated there. And even though we got the knockdown in the first round, he didn't go gung-ho in the second and try and finish it too early. You know, that over-eagerness to impress that every young fighter has. He stayed nice and controlled and just stuck to his game plan.
So we go into the third of 6 here at Wembley Arena. Good afternoon to you. If you're just joining us, Chris Lloyd here alongside Barry Jones for a big night of boxing. Katie Taylor at the top of the bill tonight, live on DAZN around the world, defending her undisputed lightweight world championships against Argentinian national champion Karen Carabajal. Huge opportunity for her. How will she fare under the lights? John Hedges ripping again to the body offer. A nice combination.
I was just about to say, but he just needs to get a little change of pace a little bit here, Hedges. Just sometimes a little injection of pace just keeps the other fighter always thinking. Just get too settled with one pace. You can time that sometimes. And before I said it, he unloaded a nicely 3-punch combination.
It's of course all part of the education. How to pace the distance of the fight, going up through combinations, not just showing everything you've got in those first couple of rounds. And Mark Tibbs has been instilling that into Johnny Fisher. We've heard that from what he said, understanding the value of patience, not loading up with everything in those first couple of rounds as he was in the early stages of his career. He, of course, a stablemate of John Hedges in action a little bit later on too, against Dominic Musil from Czech Republic, countryman of Alice Makovic. Well, he'd be on the end of it as well later on tonight as Hedges tripling up that jab, stepping around him anti-clockwise, just waiting patiently for his opening.
Oh, not far off there from that uppercut there, Hedges. Just needs to come back with the right hook after he throws that shot. Puts him back on balance and keeps Makovic thinking.
Sinks that lead right uppercut into the midsection again, and Makovic just took a deep breath and certainly feeling the wear and tear already through his 2.5 rounds.
Well, Makovic, he's got to get on the balls of his feet, so a little more weight over that front foot. And when he moves his head a little bit more, then you can get the momentum to slide forward, close the gap, put Hedges in a bit of pressure, then fire that left hand over the top or that right hand over the top. Because at the minute the pace is at and the range is at, it's going to take Hedges' lack of concentration for Makovic to get any sort of success here.
Good shot. Now the sinking body shot starts to work upstairs, trying to pin Makovic into the corner. Fights his way out, gets back to centre ring. He just fell a little short there and just lost his balance on that combination, just got caught on the counter, but well, as he did against Robert Baltaru, as he was in spurts against Nagolski, both of whom he got the stoppage. He was clipped a couple of times in the fray and dealt with the shots well, came back stronger, and just a reminder there, he's got to stay disciplined with his own work, but 3 rounds in the bank for Hedges, 3 to go.
And it's a good lesson for him here, because he's having everything so much his own way that you can lose your concentration. You can almost forget that the other guy can throw punches back, because nothing's coming back at the minute. Everything he does is working for him. But I still like how he is keeping his shape. He is, he's staying focused. He's not trying to overcomplicate stuff. He's keeping it nice and long, simple, and it means he's dominating the fight. Some sort of balance. You probably would like to see a little bit more work. You get up the tempo a little bit in stages, and I do it in little spurts, like he did in the previous one. A little acceleration of pace and rattle a combination and go back again, burn the jab, and just see how that feels.
So into the 4th we go. John Hedges, the tall figure, top left of your screen in the green trunks. There's Makovic in black with the red. Oh, lovely left hand off the jab. Makovic taking it well. Hedges just stepping around him, forcing him to reset. Makovic just trying to just make that space a little bit tighter. Is he in danger of walking onto something in the process, though? Just crouching down, trying to make himself a smaller target for Hedges.
Pulled back on that shot there, Hedges. He threw the double jab and the left hand, but he didn't fully commit with it. He didn't really turn from the waist. Sort of pulled back, but now he knows it's there. He got the range right. The next time, he maybe just push off the back foot a little bit more and get a bit more purchase on that shot, then he might have a different effect. But the jab's been superb for him so far tonight. Been lovely. It just shows our good body shot.
Just caught a left hand over the top there. Hedges a little tall. He's taking it well, just watching his man. He's seen most of it coming so far. Just clipped with the odd shot, a little high on the return. Nice left hand again down the middle. Credit to Makovic, because he was hurt in the first round with still a minute to survive with that body shot, and his legs have definitely slowed considerably. Watched his last couple of fights. He's not the quickest of foot, but he's quicker than this, and I think that has taken something out of him, but he's still there. Still trying to look for an opening, still trying to find singles on the return when he can. The Hedges, he's just in such control at distance.
Yeah, he's willing to. It's just his feet are letting him down, aren't they? That's the only issue here. He's too far on his heels. He just can't close the gap quick enough. And also, he tried to throw from too far out in round 1 and 2, but because he's getting caught and missing clearly, he's sort of shut shop a little bit.
Yeah, there's certainly hesitation in his work now, and Hedges knows that Makovic has to do something to try and force the issue here, otherwise he can coast to a win on points. But if the stoppage is there, he'll take it, as we've seen in the last couple. Just measuring again with that lead hand. Lovely left hand, that did hurt Makovic that time, but he tries to fire back. Hedges just clinches.
Again, I still think it's the double jab there for Hedges, like he did when he landed with that left hand over the top. They'll just push him back, push him onto the range, onto the end of that left hand. Again, there's lovely clean work, isn't it, from Hedges. To go for the body again. No, and it's hard for a taller guy, for a shorter guy who does box small as well. Be able to lean over and safely, first of all, trying to still get those body shots into play. It's harder than what it looks. But again, I'd be really happy. He can throw more punches. He's really dominant. He can be more exciting if you want. And I understand all that. But for a young man to keep his head and to keep the discipline in his work, and listen to the corner, obviously, is a good lesson for him tonight.
The cruise control for Takeley's John Hedges as we're into the penultimate round of first contest of the night here at Wembley Arena. It's been rinse repeat for him as he lands a stiff double jab. Established that early, didn't allow Makovic to get into any rhythm or apply any kind of sustained pressure at all. Hurt him with that body shot late in the first round. Makovic survived, got to the break, and he's been there ever since, but hasn't been able to change the tempo, apply any pressure and put Hedges under any sort of duress. He's had the time and space to work out what he wants to do, and to do it pretty comfortably throughout these last 5 rounds. Unless Makovic is able to change something drastically, this is what we're going to see for the next 5 minutes or so.
But again, we go back to the same point again with that, you know, that he needs to rush Hedges. But when you don't have any feet to do that, it's impossible. You can throw every punch in the book, but if you can't get close enough to the target, then it's just wasted work, isn't it? So he's willing. I think, you know, if Hedges stands with him, then he's in for a fight. You can feel that. But even the step there from Makovic there, stepping with his heels, you can read it, you can see it.
That's his best chance there if Hedges gets a little bit greedy, starts letting his hands go to just try and wing something over the top, but he has landed a couple of those overhand lefts, and Hedges has seemed pretty comfortable when they have landed.
Well, Makovic's looking to be looking. You can see he's looking to throw a big shot. That's where the feint comes in here for Hedges. He doesn't need to throw it at all. Actually, it would be no use for him most of the time. But when you've got a guy who's looking to throw, you can see he's clearly trying to do some work. He feints because he's tense. He'll throw, and then you get the cap to counter.
Yeah, and he is trying to set him up, isn't he? You can just see from the base. Wide feet, quadruple jab. Heavy shots as well. Just looking for that left hand. Can he get Makovic to take the bait and overcommit? Oh, it's been like sparring for him so far. Yeah. We did talk earlier on this week what the plans will be for next year. He said, well, maybe an area title. The English title, of course, currently held by Joel McIntyre. Light heavyweight's been ordered to face Ricky Summers for the belt before the end of March. Really good quality English title fight, that, and as it should be. Bryce Goodridge faces London's Chris Davies for the vacant Southern Area light heavyweight title on the 5th of November at York Hall. You can see him being in the mix with one of those guys at some point next year. But he did say 175 may be a bit of a stretch, and he's not heavily muscled at this age, but he will be starting to fill out as he enters his sort of early to mid-20s, and at 6'5", I think if he knows already he's struggling, he has to go to cruiserweight, doesn't he?
I think it'd be quicker than that. When you get to this sort of age, you look around, you didn't see this guy for 6 months, he'd probably be twice the size. You know, that's what happens, and they go so quickly, and says me, I haven't grown since I was 13. But I think inevitably, I think he will fill out. Maybe he's one of those guys who just won't, but you tend to think, you know, he has the shoulders, doesn't he? I think he's going to get a bit bigger and quite quickly.
Yeah, working with Sonny Cannon, who does the strength and conditioning for all the Mark Tibbs fighters. He's looking physically much more assured in these last 2 or 3, and a good 5 rounds in the bank tonight so far. And he put a punctuation on a clinical performance to kick us off here at Wembley. Makovic, to his credit, has stayed in there but hasn't been able to adapt and to adjust his game plan. It's been route one stuff, and not enough of it either. Just been right on the end of those long-range, sharp jabs and left hands down the middle from Hedges. The odd body shot too. And he has got just over 2 minutes to try and pull something dramatic out of the bag, and it's looking more and more unlikely as the round wears on.
Yeah, like we sort of said this for 3 rounds, maybe 4 rounds ago. Hedges got to make a mistake. And Makovic to really have a chance here. I think what Hedges has shown tonight is that discipline, that control.
The Makovic, strangely, looks more comfortable now than he did in the second and the third round. So obviously he's adjusted to what he's been hit with. He's slightly recovered from, I think, that early body shot that took the wind out of him, and he's kind of here now.
And you can see the finishing line. That gives you a little bit of a spurt. Even if you're not winning a fight, you know you can push it now because you only got 3 minutes left.
Hedges just using the feint to drive his man back, thumping 1-2 behind it.
It's a lovely jab again. The jab's been really good for him tonight. I prefer the jab in the first 2 rounds is better for me because he was really stabbing with the front foot and getting lots of weight behind it, and I think that put Makovic in his place early. He's flicked it out a little bit more as the round's gone on here, Hedges, and it's still been effective for him, but not the same power.
Do you think that's because he kind of wants Makovic to sort of get past something so that he can draw him onto the left hand?
Yeah, but also it takes a lot of concentration to commit, to take that step, all those movements as well. I know you've got to come back and be safe and make sure nothing's coming the way to you. Even though you're attacking, you're going to be defensive as well. So it takes more thought and it's more tiring, I think, as well.
Hedges just scoops that lead right hand to the body. Makovic had the elbows tucked down across the torso. Just over 15 seconds to go here in the last round. Wings a left hand, just misses. Well, he's quicking the feet up now, but he's got about 5 seconds to land something. And, well, it was simple, clinical, effective work from 1 to 6 from John Hedges. Looked like it might be an early night at the end of round number 1, but credit to Makovic for hanging in there, got to the break, sucked it up and stayed in the fight too. But that man was absolutely dominant, as comfortable, I think, as 6 rounds are going to be in his career. And if he has got ambitions of moving up through the levels, even through area title level, he's going to be in some tough scraps with some good opposition. And that is just the kind of performance that Mark Tibbs will have wanted to see, because, as you mentioned, Barry, very easy for young prospects when they're having things their own way to switch off, to get complacent and to get caught, and he didn't do that tonight.
No, he never. It's worse when you're having success. You tend to think, oh, you see all the problems when people are getting hurt and beat, but it's sometimes when you're so comfortable, you do make mistakes. Again, and in these early fights now, it's about not picking up bad habits. And I think that good jab and keeping the discipline is a very good habit to have going forward.
OK, David Diamante is standing by with the scorecards. Let's hand over to him now.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 6 rounds here in London, England, we go to referee Michael Alexander's scorecard. It reads 60-53 for your winner. He's still undefeated. Gentlemen, John J. Hedges.
So win number 7 for John Hedges. The knockdown, but no stoppage in the end. It was comfortable for him, and I think the signs now, from what we've seen in his first year or so as a young fledgling pro, that he's ready to step up towards area level at the beginning of next year. And speaking of area titles at light heavyweight, Nicky Ellison and Thomas Whittaker-Hart will be contesting the central area version of the belt in 1 fight's time. And the fight before that, Jordan Reynolds and Jose Clavero will do battle. Jordan Reynolds has been out for exactly 365 days with a recurring bicep injury that he's had for quite a long time. I can remember him having problems with it as far back as the amateurs. He returns to action and he is backstage ready to ring walk. Let's hand you back over to David Diamante.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now set to go with a 6-round middleweight affair. Making his way to the ring, please welcome Jose Manuel Lopez Clavero.
Well, we saw Clavero last time out against the excellent young Janae Bostan from Grant Smith's Steel City Gym, who he was right on the end of it from the first bell. He weathered 6 tough rounds before being stopped just before the end of the contest. He has, though, completed 6 with Carl Fale and Brian Rose, 10 with Jorge Fortea. Only Bostan and Suleiman Sissoko have stopped him in the best part of the last 6 years, and it took them 6 and 7 rounds respectively. He's a tough man who you have to break down and unpick if you're going to get him out of there. How will he fare at 38 years of age against Jordan Reynolds in his prime here in London tonight?
And now entering the arena, please welcome the undefeated Jordan Reynolds.
Lumen towns founded in the 6th century by the Saxons. Through the ages, Lumen's been turned apart more often in general. Brickmaking is the hat-making, Lumen is on the natural history. Alongside producing some exceptional fighters over the years, then there's a new era, the Wanderers era. Born bred in Tony, Jordan Reynolds, a councillor state kid to a fighter, and Luton town supporter. The Wanderer from Luton is here. So let's get behind the town and make some more history. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Jordan, the Wanderer, Reynolds.
So somewhat an audition for Luton's Jordan Reynolds. He's a very popular figure, a big ticket seller, a good fighter as well. Remember meeting him when he was an amateur around 7 years ago, training at Sablio's Protestant Boxing Club, where he was consistently one of the top amateurs in the country at 75 kilos. He made the ABA final 3 years running, was edged out twice by the now Olympic silver medalist Ben Whittaker in 2016, 17, and then he beat Ben Fale at York Hall to lift the title in 2018. But as I mentioned, he's had to battle a series of bicep injuries throughout the amateurs, and it reared his head earlier on this year, but he's back exactly a year to the day that he last fought, and he dispatched his opponent last time in less than 2.5 minutes. He said his aim is to become British champion in 2024. Tonight, he believes, is the first step on the road back to that ambition.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the Oval Arena, London, England, we are set to go with a 6-round middleweight attraction, and it's all being brought to you courtesy of Mr. Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing. We're sponsored by Betfred, Stagefront, FCI Markets, and JD Sports. Introducing your third man in the ring at the sound of the bell, scoring A-star referee from Doncaster, from Twickenham, Mr. Marcus McDonald. Now, ladies and gentlemen, 6 rounds of boxing scheduled in the middleweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, he wears the black trunks with the red and gold trim. He's scaled 11 stone, 9 pounds, 3 ounces. His professional record, 16 victories, 18 defeats, 1 draw, with 5 wins coming by way of knockout. Presentando de Granada, Andalucía, España, Jose Manuel Lopez Clavero. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the blue corner. He wears the red with white and blue trim. He scaled 11 stone, 9 pounds, 1 ounce. His young professional record thus far perfect, 3 fights, 3 victories, 1 of them coming by way of knockout. Fighting out of Luton, ladies and gentlemen, here is the undefeated, the Wonder, Jordan Reynolds.
Jordan, you both know the rules of boxing. I don't explain them to you. One thing I will say, obey my instructions at all times. Watch your heads, keep it clean. Any questions? Let's go to work.
Now, becoming British champion in 18 months is a tall order for a 3-0 novice, but he's never been short of confidence, Jordan Reynolds. He'll have to be busy, and he'll have to take some risks in that time. A very, very accomplished amateur who has had his career and progress stifled by injury, the pandemic. And he is raring to go. And, well, Barry, you hear the phrase itchy knuckles. I think you think of a fighter like Jordan Reynolds. You called a couple of his first 3 fights as a pro. He's got an exciting style.
He has, but this was one of the things I said. As good as he's been and as accurate as he can be with his work, sometimes over-eager. You've got to be careful he doesn't walk into shots, just like he did just there. I've done a couple of Calavero's fights as well, and he looks like a guy who will fold as soon as you hit him. He's tough. He's really tough. You've got to hit him from all sorts of unusual angles to really get some joy out of him.
Well, we know Janae Bostan does exactly that. Heavy-handed, hits you from orthodox, southpaw, screw shots, straight, and all with brilliant balance and spite as well, and took him right to the end of the 6th round just a couple of months ago to get this guy out of there. Just the age that hangs over him now, Clavero, 38. How much did that fight take out of him? And some quite tough scraps with some of the names I mentioned on the ring walks. Had a long career, and he is coming to the end of it now, but just Reynolds eager. Sense the adrenaline in his work with the crowd here. About 500 tickets he sold even at this stage in the afternoon. Stiff right hand, just turned the knuckles over. That got Clavero's attention, but he comes back.
But everything about that was good. He didn't know he was biding his time. He had him in the corner, and he didn't do what he has done previously, just throw for the sake of throwing. He was feinting with the left hand, shuffling with the feet, looking for the opening. A good shot again. Felt that there, Clavero.
Yeah, off the left hand that time, wasn't it? The right, but just chopped down. He holds on.
Just got to be careful there, Reynolds. Every now and again, he throws a right hand. It's a lovely shot. Just brings that right foot forward, squares himself up. Just needs to get a little bit more turn from the hips. But apart from that, it's a good positive stab, isn't it?
Training, of course, at the iBox gym these days. Had some good sparring the last year or so with Kevin Ajako, who departed the gym not too long ago. He's been in with Phoenix Cash recently in this camp as well. Skimming right hand, Clavero just took the wind out of that, just turned the chin. Reynolds working the body well. Good work. Clavero fires back, shortening the shots up too.
And that's where Reynolds, when he throws his shots, you've got to move your feet. Even if you just pivot around the body, just get a different angle. See there, Clavero, once you fire, he fires back immediately. If you hold your feet, if you're square in front of him, you're going to catch something back. Good jab there from Reynolds. Nice again there, little shuffle with the feet there before he let that right hand go.
Well, busy first round. No feeling out process at all. Jordan Reynolds giving the fans their value for money, getting straight to work.
Yeah, and the right hand's been really good for him. He's really committing with it, especially when he turns from the hips there rather than bring the right foot forward. It means you can follow up with more combinations. He came out first, as soon as the bell, he came out really fast and aggressive, and I thought, oh, he's going to rush his work again like he has in the past. And even though he's got results, he's going to get clipped a few times, and this guy is a guy you've got to be careful with. I think as the round went on, he was still busy, Reynolds, but cleverer with his work, a little bit more patient, but still getting the good results.
Well, Clavero is historically quite a fast starter. I saw that in his last contest against Carl Fale. He raced himself to 6-0 in his first 12 months as a pro, but it's been Reynolds who's set the pace early. Can Clavero go with him?
Again, I commented on that fight actually, and that was
you did, yeah.
That was a perfect thing of what Clavero was all about. You know, he looked like he was going to Phil play with him at times. And Clavero, when you thought you got him hurt and you thought he was going to get out there, he fired back, and Phil had to be on his game. He really did.
Of course, it was Ben Fale that Jordan Reynolds beat in the ABA Finals 2018. I was calling the action that night, and good to see with the the trials and the tribulations he'd had, that he got his moment at last, because he had a couple of high-quality finals against Ben Whittaker in the years preceding that. Just fell short, no shame in it too, but had to work for everything that he got in the amateurs, and he isn't shy of putting the graft in. Just measuring the distance again, finds the right hand of Clavero, finds one on the return as well.
Again, he brings that right, just as soon as he brings that right foot forward there, after he throws that right hand there. And that's when he gets clipped. Just a little half a step around the body, just gives him a little different angle of attack there, Reynolds.
Clavero again just leading off with the left hook. Reynolds is a little bit static with the head. You might see just Darren Barker, bottom right of the screen, next to Eddie Herman, his new manager, along with Joe Kawasaki at International Sports Group. They formed the company a few months ago, and Darren said just want him to just move his head a little bit more when he's exchanging. And you can kind of see why, because he is taking some on the return, and against somebody like Clavero, he can get away with it. As he goes up the levels, it's not going to be the case. He is exciting to watch.
You know, he's good to watch, and he's busy, you know, and he commits to every attack. Good body shot there from Reynolds. And then again, he stays in front of his opponent, has to take a few shots back.
Well, Cyrus Pattinson, a long-time friend of his on GB, Southpaw welterweight, he described him, a phrase I'd never heard before until a couple of years ago. He said, game as a badger.
Yeah, game as a badger.
He's not wrong, and you can see why, as Reynolds just taps with the jab, trying to find his way into range, scoops that right hand round the side.
That sounds like an asset, but in the professional game, that's not always a good thing. Smarts at everything in this game.
Clavero tucked down, putting the barricades up. Reynolds finds a way through with that lead uppercut, just trying to work around the sides under the elbows. Found the right hand, trades with him now. A couple of seconds on the clock in this second round. Jab to the body.
Shot. Heavy right hand there from Reynolds.
See Al Smith, Eddie Lamb in the corner there. Ian Weaver out of shot two. On the GB squad himself, Ian Weaver.
Oh, good, what a fighter he was.
What a brilliant fighter,
yeah,
and just didn't have the luck. It was so close between him and Luke Campbell, I think, in the lead up to 2012. He won the Commonwealth Games gold in 2010. He won European silver, and unfortunately for him, Luke Campbell was the best in the world at the Olympic Games.
Yeah.
That's sometimes what you're up against, to battle for those international places. And of course had an assist on the brain, which eventually, and he had his pro license taken off him at I think 22 or 23 years of age. He's still a young man with plenty to give, and he's been on the pads with him at the open workout and in training this week. Really good team of experience at the iBox gym in South London. Jordan Reynolds in control, but he's in a good little scrap here.
But it always looked like that on paper, didn't it? It always looked like, you know, especially stylistically, the way Reynolds is so committed that he might have to take a few shots.
Now Clavero just fancies it a little bit here, just boxing his way out the corner. And he is a bit of a gunslinger. We've seen that in fights gone by.
And that's why after you throw your punches there, Reynolds, you've got to just, even if he just takes a little half turn, just a different angle, and when you come back out, then it's harder to hit. Another thing you should do is when he throws a jab, dip the legs and then throw the right hand over the top. Just change the levels of your head a little bit.
Right on cue, just slid out of range, read the oncoming attack, just comes back in, round to glancing right hand. And Clavero just boxed into the corner, finds a left hand to the body.
Good head movement there though from Reynolds.
Foot speed just starting to be the difference here as well. Reynolds is getting in and out with those attacks. Clavero just starting to look like a 38-year-old fighter. He is well conditioned, he's active, he's busy. The hands are moving, but the feet aren't, and he's out of range. On the counter, Reynolds again just bustles forwards, putting him under pressure here.
But I've seen Clavero like this before. When he gets clipped like this, he looks tired, looks like he's on his way out, like he's going to fold, and all of a sudden he fires back and puts you in a bit of trouble.
Left hand to the body. Just tried to cut through the middle with the same hand.
It's nice work there from Reynolds. Confidence there to sit in the pocket there and just move the shoulders, make him miss, make him pay. See, if he just slows down now just a little bit, you know, he's still busy, but he don't throw as many. He sees more. The more time to set your shots up, and there's more quality in his work.
I think the more Clavero opens up, the more he can get him to open up here, the more gaps there'll be to exploit for Reynolds as well, as he just works the other side that time with the right hand to the body, uppercut through the middle, the old Mike Tyson combination, right hand stiff, just turn the chin of Clavero, tries to fire back, but Reynolds just watches it slide over the top.
Dip those legs now and throw that right hand.
Clavero covering up, just tried to roll and shoot the right hand, but again, just short with it. Lands a nice left under the elbow there. Reynolds just steps off for a moment. Good action.
I thought that was good 3 minutes of pressure there from Reynolds. And showing some good strength, with more confidence in, you know, when he is in close range, and sit nice and low, make you miss. Looking for the range. That's a lovely body shot, and then a lovely ripping out hook right through the uppercut right through the guard there from Reynolds.
He just keeps using that forearm just to nudge himself a little bit of space to keep that guard occupied.
So he's put a lot of pressure on Clavero there, but if you look him in the corner, he looks tighter than Clavero, ironically. Good head movement there from Reynolds. Just stood up a little bit too tall, which means he couldn't fire back. He felt that there, Clavero there. He just walked into a jab as he was firing forward.
Again, just finds himself boxing into the corner. Reynolds just looking for that big overhand right. I think he telegraphed it a little bit too much. We saw it coming from here, as did Clavero. Just turned the shoulder.
It's the shot, though. It's the shot to throw, but he's just got to get low when he does it.
Really lifted the chin up with that uppercut. Again, he's starting to get through here.
When Clavero moves back, when he moves anything, the left hand drops automatically. So he takes a step back, so that's when you want to go low. You slide your front foot a little bit closer to the target, and then you fire that right hand over the top. Good right hand there from Clavero, bouncing off the head there to Reynolds.
Jab to the body, just off that little feint to close the gap. Reynolds adjusting his range, having a look at his man, allowing Clavero to work, to let his hands go, try and find an opening of his own. Right hand under the elbow, lovely little change of angle there from Reynolds, and the left hook behind it, straight down the middle. And what you called for a couple of rounds ago, and now he's just starting to go through the combinations.
I've just been texting Alan Smith about it, that's why.
Either that or they've got a feed of you in their ear.
God bless him. Oh, good shot again there from Reynolds. But what a difference, though, just changing a little bit of angle, the quality of the work.
Oh, he's his bread and butter in the amateurs. He was pirouetting like an orthodox Lomachenko.
Good shot again there from Reynolds.
They're starting to really put their hands together. 50 seconds on the clock in round number 4. Clavero letting them go. Left hook to the body lands. He tries to step off, but just catches a right hand as he stepped around on the turn.
There's a left hook to the body just before that right hand as well, and they just dropped the elbows of Clavero.
Reynolds making Clavero work, making him think as well, mentally draining, physically too, chopping away at the body, changing the levels, coming back upstairs, and just a warning for the referee there just to keep the shots up. One was just drifting around the belt line. Well, that was clean. A little grimace from Clavero. He's kind of half in survival mode, but his instinct as a scrapper and as a proper fighter, you can just see Whenever there's an opportunity like that, he loves to take the bait. He loves to stand and trade. Good finish to the round from Reynolds, right hand on the belt, and no hard feelings. I can always remember, I think it was only a couple of weeks after the ABA final, he took a very short notice fight on either a day or two against the Kazakh southpaw Abulkan Amankour in the World Series boxing over 5 rounds, and he wasn't fit for the fight at all by his own admission. Doesn't get much worse than one of the world's best Kazakh southpaws, maybe a 3-armed Cuban, but he equipped himself very, very well that night, and he's willing to jump in and fight the best. He talks about being British champion in 18 months, although he might not have the experience. If the opportunity presents itself, he's the kind of fighter that he will force himself into that contest. And because he's a ticket seller, Barry, he will get those opportunities if he wants them.
And he's, offensively, he's very good, isn't he? He moves well. And I just think, defensively, he's getting better from what I saw him the last time live. He is moving his head a little bit more. He is, being a little bit more patient when he got him here. He's not so gung-ho as I've seen him in the past, so he's still trying to be aggressive, still trying to impress, and more importantly, trying to hurt the other guy. Everything he throws is, without being crazily hard, there's intention in his work. I think it's a good display for him. He's in against a guy here who can take a good shot and fires back every time you throw a shot. So this is a fight that can be extremely hard for you. I think Reynolds has adjusted as the fight's gone on, and he's made it more comfortable for him as the rounds have gone by. And also, when you're an aggressive fighter, when you are piling forward, you are going to take punches. It's impossible not to.
Good work from Clavero, just fights his way off the ropes right on cue. Reynolds not allowing him to gather any momentum, pushes him straight back into the corner. 1-2, pierces the guard.
You can't miss him with the right hand. Every time he lets it go, Reynolds has success.
Romero just took the sting off at that time, just turned the corner, but immediately finds himself in the adjacent corner. The two exchange right hands. That was good from Clavero.
Yeah,
Reynolds fight just walked square onto a right hand, just a little hint of concern on the face of Darren Barker ringside.
No, he felt that, to be fair. He did the right thing, though. He held on. But again, throwing that right hand forward, you've got to sometimes turn from the waist and the hips, the shoulders, I should say, and not too much over the front foot. But at the same time, when you have a success with the same punch, the right hand all the time, you are just going to wing it in, aren't you?
Rivero just stepping around the outside of the ring, trying to force Reynolds to reset, just give himself a few seconds, just mental respite, a jab to the body. Reynolds backs himself into that corner, throws that 1-2 again, and Rivero's dealt with the pressure pretty well. He's a kind of fighter, even when he is under fire, it never looks like he's in too much trouble. It doesn't look like he's under too much pressure. At 38 years of age, a testament to the conditioning, the regularity with which he's boxed, the kind of opponents he's faced, and the nous that he has. Covers up another right hand, just takes the sting out of it, just starting to show the telltale signs of fatigue there. Just looks for a golfer there, as Reynolds lands another combination with a left hook to the body to finish.
He's done well here, Reynolds. He took a good shot, felt it, still won the round, but boxed a bit more cautious first just to recover, and I think that was the right move for him.
Yeah, a little bit. Listen, first fight of the year, that's a little bit of an injury. He's going to come at you like a straight shot. So I need you to make sure you get on the right, use your face, go for the gears a little bit here and there.
Well, we saw Big John Hedges in the fight before this one, successful over 6 against Alice Makovic. Will his stablemate Johnny Fisher himself roll on to 7-0? He's up against Dominic Musil from Czech Republic in our third contest of the broadcast portion of the bill. He's a big man, isn't he, Johnny Fisher? that Romford Army will be out in force a little bit later on, live on DAZN. We go live at 7 o'clock local time, just over an hour. Gary Cully and Jal Belmedi kicking us off. Ellie Scotney challenges for the European title against Mary Romero before Johnny Fisher ring walks. And then, of course, Jordan Gill defends his European title against Kiko Martinez to set the table very nicely indeed for Katie Taylor, defending once again her undisputed World Lightweight Championships against the Argentinian national champion Karen Elizabeth Carabajal. All live on DAZN later on this evening. And right here into the final round between Jordan Reynolds and Jose Clavero. Been a good competitive fight. Reynolds has been in charge, won every round. On your scorecard, Barry?
Oh yeah, clearly won every round. You know, there hasn't been no argument there. And you know, he got caught with a good shot in the last round and you know, did the right thing, held on, recovered, and then I think he just made sure he just did enough to win the round, but didn't take any risks. But he's been good. He's always good to watch, Jordan Reynolds. He always is. You know, there's still a few more things to work on. I think that it's evident they've done more work. I think there's more patience in his work than I've seen in the past. I think that's a positive sign. And it's just getting the balance right, being having that patience and still being that aggressive, you know, marauding fight that he wants to be. And that's important. You know, whatever it is, whatever your coach wants you to do, you have to be comfortable with it. You know, you want to be a certain way, and your trainer has to work around that and try and give you the right knowledge for that style.
Just lands a little slip right-hand counter, but Clavero comes straight back on the front foot, firing with him. Just under a minute 30 to go, and lovely
below the right hand. Clavero doesn't care, does he?
Well, he's not a complainer, but there was a wince there, and he did just kind of slow blink at Reynolds as if to say, come on, mate. Nice chopping right hand to the body that time. Reynolds walking forward, Clavero tries to step to him. And well, if you wanted the kind of perfect 6 rounds to shake the ring rust off after bang on a year of inactivity, I think this has been just about right in terms of the matchmaking for Reynolds. Enough of a threat to keep him honest, not enough to really worry him too much, but it's keeping him switched on. And it's been a good fight.
Yeah, I think that you just summed it up perfectly there. I think it's not just a 6 rounder where you know the guy's durable, but he's not offering nothing back. It's a fight that's kept Reynolds on his toes there. I think the sharpness there in this fight for him will put him right back on track. I think that's what you want. You want to be in a competitive fight without the risk of losing, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. It will shortly be in November. He said he does want to be out before the end of the year is up as well, as he just catches the left hook on the exit there, just dipping and rolling to get back to centre ring. Just looks for the little slip counter, but Clavero just smothered his workers. The second stick down at the end of round number 6. And that is all really good contest between the two. I'm sure Reynolds will feel the knuckle itch has been scratched tonight. Boys, he had to be a patient man these last 4 or 5 years in just about every respect. Still the fan base follows him, still they buy the tickets, and they will continue to do so. A really popular man in his local town of Luton. And, well, set a high pace from the off, Barry, and he pretty much stuck with it for the 6 rounds.
Yeah, he did. I think he came out too fast in the start of the first round, and I think he adjusted pretty quickly. And then you know, when he was mounting attacks, but you see it was just a little half a second. He was thinking, making sure he was throwing the right punches, and he was for the most part. You know, he was throwing those nice little 1-2s. The right hand was a shot that he never missed with all night, to be fair. Dipping down to the body. The one time he did change the angle, come around and through that lovely left hook after the spin on the right hand side. I thought it was good work. He takes a few shots coming forward, of course, and he took one, particularly one hard one in his own corner in round 5. But did the right thing, held on. I think all these things to learn experiences, and I think all in all they'll be very happy with tonight's work.
So he heads to centre ring. Referee has the fighters there. David Diamante has the scorecards. Let's hear from him.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 6 rounds of action, we go to referee Marcus McDonald's scorecard. It reads 60-55 for your winner. He's still undefeated, the Wanderer, Jordan Reynolds.
So a very comfortable win for Jordan Reynolds via unanimous decision. He moves at last to 4-0. And the Wanderer couldn't get rolling again in the ring with his team at the iBox gym. A good team they are as well. Very accomplished. He's got good sparring there, good knowledge behind him as well. How far can he go? So, 2 in the can then. John Hedges victorious over Alice Makovic. Jordan Reynolds victorious over Jose Clavero. Next up, a really interesting contest to cap off things here on Before the Bell. Central Area light heavyweight title between the holder, Mickey Ellison, and the challenger, Liverpool's Thomas Whittaker-Hart. Coming up next.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the Oval Arena, Wembley, London, England, live on DAZN, we are now set to go with the Central Area Light Heavyweight Championship. Set to make his way to the ring, please welcome the undefeated challenger, Thomas Whittaker-Hart.
Well, that's life for Thomas Whittaker-Hart, and what a life he's had over the last 18 months to 2 years. Been through some of the most horrific and terrifying health scares you could possibly imagine. I think ones that at certain points he felt may be the end of him, not just as a fighter, but as a human being altogether. But he has got through them, thankfully. I think he wondered whether he'd ever get back to boxing. He is, and he looked strong in his last contest. There he is with Joe McNally and Declan O'Rourke, part of that team up in Liverpool. How far can they take this young man? He was a good amateur on GB, and he wants to get into a very good domestic light heavyweight mix next year. Tonight, the first step on the road to achieving that ambition.
And now entering the arena, please welcome the reigning and defending Central Area Light Heavyweight Champion, Mickey Ellison.
Well, Mickey Ellison has been a really good domestic fighter at super middle and now up at light heavyweight too. Boxed for English titles, Central Areas, become champion at super middleweight not too long ago. I think he senses that he may be the underdog going into this one, but he's a classic, solid British pro. Sets up quite nicely. He won't have the edge in hand speed. He's tall, he's rangy, and he can dog it out when things get tough. He's shown that time and time again. He may need to show it tonight in order to walk out of the ring as a Central Area light heavyweight champion.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the Oval Arena, Wembley, here in London, England, live on DAZN, we are set to go with a special light heavyweight attraction. It's all being brought to you courtesy of Mr. Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing. We're sponsored by Betfred, FCI Markets, Stagefront, and JD Sports. This bout is sanctioned under the auspices of the British Boxing Board of Control. The steward in charge is Mr. Mick Collier. Introducing your third man in the ring at the sound of the bell, scoring A-star referee from Doncaster, Mr. Michael Alexander. And now, ladies and gentlemen, 10 rounds of boxing scheduled for the Central Area Light Heavyweight Championship. Introducing first, the challenger. He fights out of the blue corner. He wears the black trunks with the gold trim. He scaled 12 stone, 6 pounds, 8 ounces. His professional record, thus far perfect. 7 fights, 7 victories, 3 of them coming by way of knockout. Fighting out of Liverpool, Thomas Whitaker. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the red corner. He is the defending titleist. He wears the green trunks with the silver piping. He scaled 12 stone, 6 pounds, 9 ounces. His professional record, 13 victories, 4 defeats. He has 5 wins coming by way of knockout. Fighting out of Darwin, Lancashire, please welcome the reigning and defending Central Area Light Heavyweight Champion, Mickey Ellison.
Right, lads, you both know the rules, so let's just have a good, clean fight, okay? Most of all, remember to defend yourselves at all times, all right? First gloves. Keep it.
So away we go then, last contest here on Before the Bell. You're listening to Chris Lloyd and Barry Jones here at Wembley Arena, ahead of a big night of action. Live on DAZN around the world. Central Area light heavyweight title on the line. The champion with it back to the screen in the dark green trunks. Mickey Ellison, after a brilliant win over Jake Barton, off the back of 2 back-to-back losses. A rerun against Charlie Schofield before that, a first-round blowout against the heavy hands of Fordraig McCrory. We know that Thomas Whitaker Hart can punch as well, Barry, and could be the danger for Ellison early here.
Yeah, he could. You know, he's got to be the one pushing forward, of course, obviously, and he's got to be the one who's got to try and rush the work of Whitaker Hart, but he also has to be careful not to walk onto anything. So mounting your attacks from too far out. There's a good right hand there from Ellison. He's got his feet close, and I think that's important. You've got to get the feet close before you let the hands go. Goes too far out, you're left exposed, and with the Hart gets that long left hook or that long right hand into play, you could be in trouble.
So Whitaker Hart's kind of the blends of McCrory and of Schofield. Sets up a little bit more like Schofield, good balance, that amateur style. Not as heavy hands as McCrory. That brilliant win over Leon Byrne a couple of weeks ago out in Germany. Blew him out inside a round. It was a right hand that he lined up early, hurt him, stiffened the legs, and then knocked him over moments later. Just never recovered from it. Has Whitaker Hart got the kind of the power and poise to land something like that and to test the chin of Mickey Ellison?
A lovely jab there from Whitaker Hart, and that's the distance he wants. The right idea there from Ellison, no doubling the jab up and then make sure the feet are coming quick behind it.
Just caught Whitaker Hart with a short left hook as they were turning around each other, and lovely return there from the Liverpool fighter, and just walks him onto a counter uppercut with the lead hand. But Ellison, game responds with a 1-2. Good fight here, just already warming up.
I think it's important for Ellison to make Whitaker feel a bit of power early, just try and put a little bit of panic. He's the bigger, taller guy, technically the better fighter on paper, so making panic a little bit, making rushes work will favour Ellison.
Whitaker Hart's been sparring with Callum Smith and Jack Massey up in Liverpool. Very big, strong, well, virtually 2 cruiserweights really, size-wise and certainly power-wise, although Callum Smith, of course, we know somehow he just recently graduated up from super middleweight, so he's had just about as good a sparring and preparation as you could style-wise for somebody like Mickey Ellison. This kind of pressure won't phase him, but this is good work from Ellison early, just chopping away, pinching those little moments as they're on the turn. Just gives Whitaker Hart a smile, goes back to his corner. Joe McNally and Declan O'Rourke in his corner. And some stable they have cultivated in these last couple of years. Even Ajako, of course, moving up there. Josh Taylor as well in recent times too. A couple of the Smith brothers there. They are first cousins themselves, O'Rourke and McNally. And you see the scar on the back of Whittaker Hart from that surgery. He had a huge cyst removed from his lung they thought was cancerous for a long time. He had pneumonia and meningitis in amongst all of that as well. I mean, lucky to be alive is an understatement. Lucky to be boxing, almost beyond him, I think 2 years ago.
Makes the boxing look easy.
Well, doesn't it? Exactly. I think the fear when he first returned to sparring was how would that part of the body hold up. Of course, it's a sensitive area. Surgery there, scar tissue as well, but last time out against Ben Ridings, he equipped himself really well over a solid 6 rounds. He was in control and in charge of that fight from the off. Ridings a considerably smaller man, coming up really from a welterweight and light middle eventually, and Whittaker Hart was able to impose himself. He hasn't imposed himself on Mickey Ellison yet. He made a good start in round number 1.
Yeah, Ellison gave him plenty to think about, didn't he? Just build the line with that right hand. And then overall here by Whittaker Hart. And why would he be? You know, he's the champion after all. Imperative for Whittaker Hart to win that battle of the jabs as well.
Reaching with that right hand a little, but he's at centre ring now. Fires the jab out, little slip to look for that short uppercut with the lead hand. Just snaps the head back of Ellison with the jab as well.
He's done that twice, hasn't he? First and second round, that little lead, that left uppercut, a horrible shot to take the elbows right through the middle.
And Ellison's landed a nice right hand to the head and to the body, and now starting to let the hands go and put the shots together up close. And again, Whittaker Hart just finds that short uppercut on the inside. Ellison takes it well, comes back with a couple of left hooks.
That works here, isn't he?
He is so far. Ellison just squaring up a little bit with that right hand. Doesn't want to get caught in no man's land with someone who can turn through the shots like we know Whittaker Hart can. Tony Bellew back of the screen watching on, his manager, of course. A lovely straight, stiff 1-2. Just pushes Ellison back onto the rope, but he inches that front foot back into the centre of the ring. Turns around, Whittaker Hart chops away with him. Oh, really good fight so far. Rarely do you see a boring area title fight. I can't really remember one off the top of my head, but they always seem to deliver. This is a bigger kind of stage, a bigger venue than you normally see them in, though.
Good there from Ellison. They're not landing completely with the jab, but just making Whittaker Hart think constantly. Again, good uppercut. Good jab there from Whittaker Hart. I love that left hand he has.
A tip for tat so far. Nice chopping right hand landed in the Liverpudlian, and they lock up, and Ellison just finding himself boxed into a corner. Nice short left into the midsection. 23 seconds on the clock in round number 2.
A decent finish of the round here, Hart, and he needed it. Good response there from Ellison. Nice little left hook.
Well, it's been a very solid pace through 2 rounds so far. You certainly wouldn't describe it as frantic, but they've got to work early. Traded, both had moments of success. Just listen in. Ellison just trying to draw something with a feint, and he did so.
He did it, he got caught, but then he was when his hands go when they're in close there. He's rattling off the combinations, and most of them are missing, but a few are landing. And I thought he was just busier through the first 3 quarters of that round there than Whittaker Hart was. But then Whittaker Hart got his boxing together in the last sort of third of the round to make it a little tight affair again.
Get this elbow. Medium range, touch it, get the left in on the side, straight back forward and go with them. Okay? Forget this elbow. You won the first 2. Yeah?
The 3rd of 10 here for those of you just joining us. Central Area Light Heavyweight title on the line. Mickey Ellison defending it in the green trunks. Thomas Whittaker Hart, the challenger. Not a great deal to pick between them so far. Both having moments of success through the first two. Competitive, as it should be. Ellison just trying to shuffle in behind that double, triple jab and look for the right hand behind it. Whittaker Hart back to centering, both eager to get back to centre when they are boxed in, even for a moment.
Just brings the left hand back low a little bit, Ellison, when he throws the jab, and that's got to be something that Whittaker has got to see. Fire that right hand over the top.
Nice work from Ellison up close there, just landed a short right to the midsection. And then one over the top as well. The jab a little sharper, a little faster from Whittaker Hart. Oh, lovely. On cue, right hand off the back of it as well. The edge in hand speed hasn't been quite so apparent because Ellison has been timing him well too.
Good jab there, running from Ellison, stepped in behind it there, just knocking the head back there to Whittaker Hart. That's what Whittaker Hart's going to make him pay. He made him move with his feet, made Ellison fall over the front foot and did make him pay for it. So a screw shot there from Whittaker Hart.
Starting to find a regular home for that left hand, and the variety that he's throwing with it just causing Ellison a few issues at range and up close as well.
Just got his boxing together a little bit here, hasn't he, Whittaker Hart? But Ellison got to start using that double jab again to push him back. Tried it there, but didn't move the feet with the hands. Just getting beat to the jab there again, Ellison.
So looking for the right hand over the jab, just
a little bit slow, wasn't it? A little bit more speed in that shot. Now that found a home there. He had the right idea, just didn't let it go quick enough. The uppercuts working so well, isn't it, for Hart?
Well, they've worked on that, haven't they? Has been one of the eye-catching shots that Whittaker Hart has landed through these first three rounds as the seconds tick down. Nicky Ellison heads back to his corner. He knows he's in a fight, but he's neck and neck. Under the guidance of Alex Matvienko, Elite Boxing in Bolton.
When he comes forward right hand, when he goes back, belly right.
He was a pro himself under Steve Wood's guidance, boxed around the Lancashire circuit for 5 years in the mid to late 2000s, finished his career 15-1. He took Jack Flatley out to Bill Bow for the unenviable task of taking on Kerman Leharaga at the end of last year. What a brave showing that was over 9 rounds. But the knockout was just horrific. Made the blood run cold at ringside, and thankfully he's recovered, and great to see him notch 2 more wins up this year. Carl Lamoti in their gym as well, 11-1, and that Central Area middleweight title has been vacant for 2 or 3 years now. No doubt he'd love an opportunity for that. So he's part of a really good stable of tried and tested fighters, Ellison. This is the second time he's held the fort for Yorkshire in a clash against the Merseysider. He won the last one against Jake Barton. He's doing well here so far, into the 4th. Again, the jostle for centering. Whittaker Hart the first to take a backward step. Nice right hand to the body from Ellison. Whittaker Hart just took the sting out of it, took the feet back with him. Again, just a little sharper on that jab, the edge in hand speed, sometimes at range, just the difference between the shots for Whittaker Hart landing crisp and with that little snap.
Even when they land at the same time, because he's getting a little bit quicker, he's just pushing the head back a bit more, isn't he?
Just eye-catching for the judges. You wonder how much that plays into their reading of the fight as well, but there isn't a great deal in this.
There from Ellison, I like that. See, when he moves behind the double jab, he gets close to the tag, and then he can let his hands go. It's working for him almost every time.
Double jab from Whittaker Hart, just pulled the right hand to the body. Didn't feel the opportunity was there. Ellison, eyes trained on him. Wired.
These little fidgety movements here from Ellison, just unsettling hard, and they just not willing to let his hands go.
look for the hooks at the same time. They're often throwing quite similar shots at the same time here.
Good little exchange there from Phil Ellison. I think Harvey has gone a little bit short with his work there.
Whittaker just high on his toes, just trying to disguise that entry point right at the edge of punching distance, just trying to draw something out of Mickey Ellison, bread and butter from his GB days. He was number 2 behind Joshua Boazzi in 2016, and then had to deal with the rise of Ben Whittaker. So it really was 2 Olympic medalists at light heavyweight that kept him off the top spot, but internationally he was a good fighter as well. The arm and respect. Shared rounds in the WSB with Julio La Cruz. Probably the best to do it at light heavy in the last 10 years in the amateurs. We both agreed that he's irritatingly good. Couldn't hit him with a shotgun from 10 yards away. He's a pro now too. He's a tough division internationally, but first, Whittaker Hart, if he's going to get in the mix at domestic level, he has to be dealing with tests like this. And he's in a solid fight here. Ellison working with him, nice uppercut through the middle, just starting to let the straight shots go as Whittaker Hart just a little bit hurt there on the ropes. Legs have gone a little bit static. The 10-second clapper sounds at the end of the round. Can't come soon enough for Whittaker Hart, who's covering up, but the legs have gone stiff, and Ellison senses a moment here, fires the uppercut through the middle, and there comes the bell. And while the best moment of the fight from Mickey Ellison, who goes back to his corner, buoyed with confidence, and Thomas Whittaker Hart, Barry out of the blue, looking a little bit hurt here.
Yeah, he just seemed to... I thought Ellison had a good round before that little exchange, to be fair. He was having a decent round anyway, but it just seemed that Whittaker Hart just wasn't as busy in that round as he was in the previous four. He just seemed to be a little bit looking for the perfect shot, but as he was doing that, Ellison's looking to work, constantly looking to work, and then when you're looking for that perfect shot, you sometimes forget what's coming back, and you got caught with a shot through the middle, and Ellison, like he does continuously, he hits you, he works off that, and then his hands go.
So you don't need to let them bust go as long.
And there's a couple of left hooks there. You thought Whittaker Hart, his chin got tested there for the first time I've seen for a while.
Yeah. Got swill.
Well, how hurt is he? He's had 60 seconds rest, and there's a laboured, languid look about him as he walks back to centre ring. Maybe a mini breakthrough for Ellison, who just steps off. He's just trying to set something else up, look for the right shot. Whittaker Hart back on the jab, being in round number 5. We approach the halfway point of this central area light heavyweight title fight. Stiff right hand just under the left elbow of Ellison.
I don't think he was hurt enough that, he walked back to the corner fine, I think. But what they did, they tire you out. Those big shots, they drain the energy. They really do.
Again, just an uppercut just lifts the head up. There's a bit of blood coming from the nose now of Whittaker Hart, evidence of those shots lifting the head up.
Just snatching with the left hand a little bit there. That's better there from Whittaker Hart, I should say. Just before that, you just snatch him with the jab, just shortens the shot and makes you fall short. It's just lack of confidence, but he committed with the second one.
Tactically, pretty good for both fighters. They both obviously have certain things they've worked on. Both have had success. They're pretty neck and neck through the first half of this fight. Could this just come down to the conditioning, the mental strength, the durability, and who can hold the clean shots a little bit better as we go into the second half of this fight? Ellison again, uppercut left hook.
Yeah, it was good uppercut there, wasn't it, from Ellison? Good right hand again.
Lovely angle change in between those two shots, and again just slams that uppercut through the middle. Whittaker Hart just lost his way for a moment here, just looking a little bit flat.
He forgot where's the sharp jab, and then he showed in the rounds previously. Maybe those taking heavy shots tire you out and slow you down, and you lose your concentration. But good work here from Ellison.
Works away with his back to the rope, steps off, gives himself some space to work again. Whittaker Hart just chops away to the body. Ellison, though, holds his feet, responds, trades with him.
Yeah, better work from Ellison off the ropes here when he blocked those body shots. He came back with an uppercut and a right hand over the top.
Saw that right hand coming, just a little bit of the sting out of the shots of Whittaker Hart, and Ellison just turned the chin, lifted the shoulder and rode that one.
Looks tired, doesn't he? Whittaker Hart, and Ellison really fancies it. Good jab and a right hand.
And Ellison fade a little bit towards the end of the contest too, and of course we haven't seen Whittaker Hart in a 10-rounder, so we don't know really where he's like conditioning wise, and I'm sure he will be wanting to find out the same question. Those big shots at the end of round number 5 just taking a little bit of something out of him. Is he going to have to work through a tricky patch here as Ellison just puts his hands together again? Whittaker Hart responds well.
Good right hand there from Whittaker Hart.
It's a really good fight to watch this. Good, wise, experienced head in his corner. Joe McNally was a very good pro himself.
It's a lovely jab there from Ellison, isn't it? He really stepped behind it and knocking the head back, and again there. And then, as always, then once he lands with a couple of good shots, he wants to let his hands go. I just thought he was really confident in the last couple of rounds there, Ellison. He's had 2 really good rounds for me, and not just 2 good rounds that he's won, 2 really good rounds that he's, each was shown out of the 2 the real appetite for the fight so far. And Whittaker Hart's going to have to show something that maybe we haven't seen yet, and a little bit of grit. And because even though the fight's close, it's still a very close fight, the momentum is all with Ellison at the minute.
He's landed a couple of pretty trademark shots, Ellison, that he does tend to land that right hand to the body off the high jab. The uppercut too, we saw that against Jake Barton last time out. Even when he was under pressure, buckled the legs of Barton with that. He's got long levers, plenty behind it as well. That was what started that, let's call it an unravelling process of Whittaker Hart. That's unfair, but the moment where he just went a little flat at the end of 5 and Ellison put those shots together behind it was the uppercut that did the damage. Whittaker Hart just a little higher on his toes now as he just weathered the worst of that, back on that jab, and just looking like he's got a little bit of life back in the legs at the start of round number 6. They exchange jabs again.
Well, sometimes you can overcomplicate stuff, and I think it is that. You've got a good jab, you're long, keep it long, keep that jab fast, hard, in and out with the feet, and force Ellison to attack. Just lovely work.
Oh, beautiful right-hand counter over the jab, then the lead. Left uppercut through the middle, just lifted the chin, but Ellison's taking it well. But again, they exchange jabs.
But that's the first time he's done. I said about Ellison in round 2, he brings that left hand low, and that's the first time really Whittaker Hart's worked off that. It's a bit of a flurry here now. Ellison just keep Whittaker Hart in his place.
A bit of marking under the right eye of Whittaker Hart, just on the cheekbone. He's got defined features. Well, that start to swell as the contest wears on. Ellison looking well conditioned, dealing with the pressure well, just turns.
Features
the challenger nicely,
there, a little bit.
A pretty clean fight for the most part, even when they've been up close. Catches are holding like this, but Michael Alexander just letting them work it out. Solid, strong man, good referee in between them. Whittaker Hart just looking to jab off that feint, then lands the right hand on the second phase, and again, stiff left hand behind it. Good work from the challenger. Ellison looking for the uppercut, missed, found the jab off the back of it.
And a good round here, Hart, and he needed it as well, didn't he? Because Ellison was getting some momentum, 2 rounds, 2 good rounds on the spin. And he's gone back to use his attributes, long, fast, easy, basic shots.
Heavy hands on that swooping right hand. A lovely left hook from Ellison as well. Whittaker Hart's taking it well, steps on him again. They're working hard in there, really working hard through 6 rounds, 30 on the clock.
Look, he's stealing the space now, Ellison, when Whittaker Hart does that little bounce and steps back. Just walk onto him a little bit more.
Swinging a little bit wildly with that right hand on a couple of occasions the last 30 seconds, just coming square as well.
Good right hand there from Ellison, and again.
Yeah, just showing a little bit more dog in these inside exchanges at times as well, Ellison. Fighting like a man that wants to hang on to his belt, that knows the danger in front of him, but he hasn't been respectful of Whittaker Hart. Well, he knows he's in a fight, doesn't he? But he did have the better of the first couple of minutes of that 6th round, and you're right, needed it too. Couldn't really let another round in succession get away from him.
No, because then you start panicking. Then inside, you start making mistakes because you're pushing the fight. But again, though, just he dominates. He does the right things, long shots, light on his feet, in and out. But make sure he steps behind that jab, and that right hand over that low left hand was a shot that last. He saw it and he threw it 3 or 4 times in that round. But as always, Ellison, just when he looked like he was starting to get a little bit dominated, he comes back with work of his own. He won't be denied. And when he's under pressure, he wants to fire back. His willingness to give some to fire under pressure is pretty impressive.
Well, it's a close fight as we head into the business end of proceedings. 7 of 10 here at Wembley Arena. Central Area Light Heavyweight title fight. For those of you just joining us, Tom Whittaker-Hart just had to weather a storm, a little bit hurt at the end of round number 5. Ellison not been overawed in the exchanges so far, has given it as good as he's gotten to. Whittaker-Hart is just trying to claw his way back into the contest after a bad couple of middle rounds.
Nice there from Ellison. Just as Whittaker-Hart's waiting too long, he just pops in a double jab.
Patient from Ellison, just gets the head snapped back with a jab through Whittaker-Hart that time, and again just trying to dip off the ropes and watch those shots sail over the shoulder. Declan O'Rourke barking instructions at his man. They're over in the away corner.
It's a nice little screw shot there from Hart.
Mickey Ellison, because he's not that explosive. I'll say that as he lands a really solid right hand, he's not that explosive. It's harder to tell when this thing goes out of his work. For Whittaker-Hart, certainly the hand speed is just slowed a little bit, just pushing those shots a little more than he was early in the contest, just bouncing up on his toes, trying to get that snap back in the ankles and the calves as well. Minute 15 on the clock in round number 7.
See, this pace should suit Whittaker-Hart onto the ground. It should do, but it's not.
So he spun himself a little bit square and just caught off balance. Found his way back to centre ring, and again just dogging it out. Nice stiff left hand. Just check the jaw, and you see the head of Tony Bellew drop ringside. He knows his man is in a really close fight here. There's a look of concern for him. Passionate man, cares deeply about his fighters and helps out for free a number of fighters up in the north, just trying to get them opportunities. And he has done so with Whittaker-Hart, who is digging in here. Blood from... Is it a cut, or is it the blood from the nose just starting to smear on the face?
Good shot there from Ellison.
And it is a blood from a cut over the right eye, and he sustained a cut over the same eye against Ben Ridings in his last outing. I think it was a head clash pretty early. They did some good work on it. It wasn't too much of a problem, but I did wonder, with the kind of sharp features that he has, whether that scar tissue's more predisposed to opening up, and well, it has done here.
It has, but I don't think the cut's the biggest concern. The biggest concern is I think the lack of energy in his work. I feel that the last, again, that round, that was the round he should have or could have. He felt that he has it in to build on, and you've got to give Ellison credit, man. We're sort of saying that it's all to do with Hart's downfall, but Ellison's the one who's being patient, moving that head and not allowing Hart just to let his hands go and then sort of jumping on him. I think the referee's just saying that the cut was with the glove, it was with a punch, so if that becomes an issue, that's in the favour of Ellison, of course.
You've got to throw back with him when he's throwing.
And he's right on the inside of the eyebrow there, and that blood starts to run into the eye. Have they managed to stem the flow? He's already starting to to run. Will it impede the vision? Michael Alexander will keep himself on the right side of Whittaker Hart, and he will keep an eye on that too.
Good from Ellison. Every time he does that double jab, he has so much success of it. Again, just, he hasn't got the fastest of hands, Ellison, but everything's deliberate, isn't it, with his work?
His timing has been good as well. He's landed from the off, just occasionally second best in the jab exchanges as he is there, kind of evidence of what we've seen, but up close, landed some really nice work, shortened the shots up well, landed the uppercut too, good stiff right hand over the top from Whittaker Hart, and he's taken the power shots well.
Yeah.
Hasn't ever looked in any trouble.
But it's, and I don't think he did in the first sort of 2 or 3 rounds, but since then, before he does anything, a little fidgety movement, and that's just, I think that's just thrown.
He's taking the rhythm, just offset his rhythm a little bit.
Good right hand there from Ellison.
Shot it
heavy
right
shot.
Over. Yeah. Oh, again, with some lands one back. It's you go, I go stuff at the moment. Brilliant. And the title fight, as you'd expect.
That second right hand from Hart, the first shot I've seen Ellison, not stiffing his feet and legs as such, will have an effect.
What a real reaction, didn't it? Yeah. But you can see that blood pouring into the eye and all over the face now with Whittaker Hart, and he has just started to blink a little bit too.
It's appetite for the fight now for Whittaker Hart. Oh, shot.
Stiff right hand there from Mickey Ellison. They really have taken the best of each other so far, and the best performance of his career so far from the area champion, without a doubt. Mentioned he inched his way past Charlie Schofield around 3 or 4 years ago, was soundly beaten on the rerun. And Schofield really was a little bit taller, longer and rangier than him. Good feet, good balance, nice jab, and just outboxed him really. And I think there's a sense around fight with that Whittaker Hart may do the same here. It hasn't been the case, and he's shown confidence in his chin, his durability. Not easy when you come off the back of a knockout loss against somebody like Paul Joe McCrory as well. He's gathered himself, Ellison. He's learnt from maybe mistakes of the past, and he's putting it together here. Really strong performance. He's digging in. But so is Whittaker Hart. They're trading that centre ring.
Shot. Lovely work there from Ellison. Sort of trying to force the work here, isn't he? Whittaker Hart, but I think that's what he doesn't need. He doesn't need to shorten the gap, does he? He doesn't need that.
Just a sense that there's urgency in his work now. Maybe just feels maybe a round, maybe 2 behind here, going into the last couple. He will need a big 9 and 10 to get something from this contest as they trade again at the final bell. Wow, what a performance through 8 for that man.
Another good round there, wasn't it, for Ellison? Really good round. To be fair, they've got to give Hart his credit as well, because he got caught with some good right hands, and all he did was fire back straight away, so he showed a good appetite for the fight, but still, it was Ellison with most of the quality work in that round. And again, the man who's really learnt the trade, hasn't he, the hard way, and he knows what he needs in these last rounds when people are getting tired. You know you've got to push the pace, commit with the shots. That's a good right hand there from Ellison. Lovely shot. And again, not a shot to knock you out, but a shot to empty the tank.
So watch him slipping and countering. So you're winning. Well,
Joe Manali, a very honest man, a very good coach as well. He will know they're going to have a big 6 minutes here. Mickey Ellison's posture, demeanour has rarely changed throughout this fight. He's at calm, assured, taken the best of Whittaker Hart, fired with him. Big moments of success in the middle rounds too, and he's held his form as we start to go deep into this contest. And well, he's eaten right hands like that clean and showed very little by way of effect by one that landed pretty cleanly the round before or the previous. And he's held firm, showed a champion's resolve. The blood again just begins to pour through the eye socket of the Merseyside challenger. Whittaker Hart just high on the toes, trying to disguise the range, trying to draw the champion onto something as they trade again. Ellison just lands a little short left hand to the body. Keep that range with a jab as well, just feinting, trying to keep Whittaker Hart occupied. Well, it's had a little bit of everything this contest so far. Well, we have dramatics between now and the finish.
It's been an even pace throughout, hasn't it? I don't think the pace has deviated at all. It hasn't been a frantic pace, but it's been high enough. They've been busy, haven't they, consistently. I think that Hart was the one, because he got seemed to be the better school and the better footwork. He was the one who could have changed it. It's nice little 1-2 from Hart. But, you could sort of discount sometimes the experience he's had, doesn't you, Ellison? Through those defeats, by the way. We're learning from them.
Yeah. English title, light heavyweight Joel McIntyre, the holder, has been ordered to face Ricky Summers before the end of March. Really good English title fight, that, and say with again the experience of the pair of them, just that half notch above the level that we're seeing tonight. The winner of this would certainly be worthy of an opportunity against the winner of that in the middle of next year. Nice counter right hand from Whittaker Hart, just puts the hands together, trying to dig deep and find something here. But again, Ellison takes the shots well, steps back on him and just steals that space at centre ring.
And the shot he threw there, Ellison, it was good work from Whittaker Hart. The shot he threw just stopped the combination, stopped the flurry, didn't it, Hart? That's all he needed. It was still a good combination from Hart. He hit with the right hand, then let his hands go, and he needs more of that.
Another tight round, Ellison trying to put a punctuation mark on it. We talked about Ellison coming up the hard way. Whittaker Hart did in the amateurs as well, got to the ABA finals at light heavyweight twice. He lost to George Crotty 2016. He beat Lyndon Arthur to win it the following year. As I mentioned, plenty of good international experience on GB against the top fighters in the world. Lots of sparring with Joshua Buatsi up in Sheffield the last 5 or 6 years. So he's put the hard yards in himself, and as we mentioned with his health, he knows all about patience and adversity. But you do have to also wonder just how much that period of time has taken out of him. Maybe a little more than we realise, maybe more than he realises. I don't want to take anything away from Mickey Ellison. It might just be that he's left his match here.
Well, he's up against Gordon Ellison. He's landed with good shots, and other fighters will either take a backward step and re-engage or try and figure it out. Ellison just shrugged it off and fired back, and I think that's they haven't had the desired effect, and he hasn't been able to work around that as effectively as he had against other opponents.
Yeah, I think perhaps they counted on some of his stiff right hands having a little more effect than they have against Ellison, and they haven't thus far.
But I still think, he stopped doing it now, Ellison. I think he's doing it again now. The head movement, I think that it doesn't look slick like you see other fighters, but it's effective.
What shot! Wilson's a big right hand there. Ellison, Whittaker Hart really turned the knuckles over in that one, but again, he takes it well. Just pause for a moment. There was a collective deep breath from there at ringside. He's not going to stiffen the legs of Ellison, but he's held the shot. Whittaker Hart did have a better round in the ninth. He's going to need a big one here.
He's got to win this round, isn't he?
Tell you what, you'd see it again, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you would. You really would. That was Ellison's chance to let his hands go there. Just squared his feet there, Whittaker Hart.
Looking at the corners, both looking on with pensive concern. They know this is close. O'Rourke, McNally in the Liverpool corner, Matvienko, Ital in the champions' red corner.
I think the Ellison corner got to think they're winning, and
they must do.
As do I. But I think you also got to think that you are the away fighter, and
yeah, technically you are the away fighter, regardless of whether you're the champion. Yeah.
So you got to put the pressure on. You just don't take any silly chances, but also win that round.
Of course, he won round 5 big, but it wasn't a 10-8 round. It was just a good, solid round, and it took a little bit out of Whittaker Hart for the 6th as well, but he got his legs back underneath him in the 7th, rallied, and showed a good response too, and he's responding really well here. They're starting to trade because they sense the end of the fight is nigh. Just over 30 seconds on the clock, and there's blood now pouring in the face of Ellison from the eye of Whittaker Hart. The marks of a really good area title battle. Another one for the history books of, historically, a rite of passage for young British fighters looking to push on to the next level, and they always give it absolutely everything. 15 seconds on the clock. This is no exception. Standard centering, Whittaker Hart thuds the left hook up the middle. Ellison just missed with the uppercut, and they swing it away. Brilliant action to cap off a really, really good fight. Swelling over the right eye of Whittaker Hart. They're going to need to do some work on that. But Mickey Ellison, well, take a bow, because that has been the performance of his career so far. After much adversity, losing 2 of his last 3 fights, one by devastating knockout. He's come back against a highly touted prospect who was so well regarded on the amateur circuit, heavy-handed. And, well, he's put it all together, held firm. And traded leather, but in a sensible fashion too. And, well, what a fight we just witnessed, Barry.
Yeah, it was, you know, and you got to give Whittaker Hart his credit. You know, he had to come out and win those last couple of rounds, and he did that. Whether it's enough, I'm not quite sure, but he's bit on his gum shield. He showed some quality work. Because he looked, there was stages in that, pockets in that fight where he looked like he didn't have that desire to dig down deep. In stages, that's what it seemed. I was wrong, of course, because he showed clearly in the last round too that he was willing to let his hands go. But Ellison, I thought, for me, I think Ellison's done enough. It's a close fight. I think he's just done enough. I think the shots that he landed with were clearer, were heavier, and yeah, and I just think he was smart. He doesn't look like a textbook or smart sort of boxer, but he's clever. His work's clever. He sits on that back foot, and then once you throw, he throws with you and just and continues with the combinations. I thought he was really, really good tonight, Ellison.
Michael Alexander covered in the claret of war as both fighters standing by. We are with anticipation ringside as well. Who will have their hand raised? Let's head over to David Diamante.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 10 rounds here at Wembley, we go to referee Michael Alexander's scorecard. It reads 96-95 for your winner. And still, the Central Area Light Heavyweight Champion, Mickey Ellison.
Michael Alexander scoring the bout, I think, just about spot on, Barry, by a round to Mickey Ellison. A very, very close fight, a very hard-fought fight, one that I think, no doubt, we would happily call again. I think the people in attendance and watching at home would definitely watch again, and the reaction from McNally and O'Rourke, I think in their corner, said that they knew they would have been lucky to get something out of that, and I think the right decision has been made here tonight.
Yeah, he's the right winner, of course he is, and there's no problem with that. And it was a relatively close fight, but I think those middle sort of rounds, he just knew a little bit more, the experience he's had, I think, and he was willing to let his hands go and take those educated risks, I feel. It was a good result and a good performance from Ellison, and you've got to be happy for him. He's had to learn his trade a very, very hard way, but he's gained experience from that, and I think he knows how to manage a fight.
And he'll certainly want to push on, no doubt, have another crack at the English title. As I mentioned, McIntyre and Summers will meet for that in March, but that concludes the action here on Before the Bell. Mickey Ellison retains his Central Area Light Heavyweight title against Thomas Whittaker Hart. Victories for Jordan Reynolds over Jose Clavero, John Hedges over Alex Makovic as well. And a really good way to warm us up for all the proceedings. Just on the other side of 7 o'clock live on DAZN, there is your main event. Katie Taylor, 21-0, undisputed lightweight champion, 2-weight world champion as well. But as we've seen, not as easy to get up for unknown challenges in that mandatory rotation that every multiple belt champion has to take at some point. But it's hard to see an upset in the offing with the credentials, the knockout percentage of Karen Carabajal. And he's on Katie Taylor to do the business tonight and to push on to what we think, Barry, we would imagine will be potentially an undisputed 140-pound clash between the winner of maybe Chantel Cameron and Jess McCaskill, or, as Eddie Hearn said earlier this week, a rerun at Croke Park with Amanda Serrano.
I was with Katie Taylor Monday, and she wants Serrano. That's the only focus she has. I think, no, obviously McCaskill versus Cameron, the winner, that would be fantastic, of course. But she wants the Serrano fight. I think she wants more of that atmosphere. Croke Park as well, with bigger crowd, homecoming. You know, the first, I think it'd be the first professional boxing show in Ireland, in Southern Ireland, since 2015-16. So you know, it would be a huge deal, and the right person to top that bill would be her.
Well, she has got to take care of business at the top of the bill at Wembley Arena tonight. Gary Cully will kick us off. Other side at 7 o'clock. Ellie Scotney challenges Mary Romero for the European title. Johnny Fisher in action against Dominic Musil. Jordan Gill defends his European title against Kiko Martinez as well. We will see you on the other side of 7 o'clock. From Chris Lloyd and Barry Jones, thanks for your company here on Before the Bell.
Down the middle, 1-2 step, shoot.
Welcome to the sold-out Madison Square Garden. Lightweight